How are you? Today our topic is about modes. Analyze mobile track has a lock feature to prevent accidental use. To remove the lock, he has to press the C button with then task for the additional yes to confirm recovering the lock. So in locked mode, C followed by yes means turn off lock, and these are the most frequent actions when Lan takes the phone from his pocket. However, Lan is forgetful and sometimes puts the phone in his pocket unlocked. This leads to occasional embarrassing phone calls and also to another problem. The yes button is quite big and so this is often pressed while in his pocket. This puts the phone into the dial recent numbers mode with a list of recent calls on screen. In this mode, pressing C gives a promote delete number and pressing yes then deletes the number from the phone address book. Unhappily, this often means he takes the phone from his pocket automatically pressing C yes only to see as he looks down to the handset the fatal words number deleted. Of course, there is no undo. We happen remember to that to know what will happen you would need to know everything about the internal state of the system and things outside of like content of files networked devices etc that could affect it. In other words, if you were consequently you could do it for lesser mortal. The system needs to give some feedback to say what has happened. In an information system there is related but slightly different issues which is to now where you have been. This helps you to feel in control, understand your navigation of the information space, the feeling of the disorientation when you do not have sufficient means to know where you are and where you have been called lost in hyperspace. Most web browsers offer a history system and also a back button that keep a list of recent visited page. Global structure, hierarchical organization. We will now look at the overall structure of an application. This is the way the various screens pages on devices states links to one another. One way the organization a system in some form of hierarchy. This is the typically organized along functional boundaries that is a different kind of the things but may be organized by roles, user types, or some more abstract breakdowns, such as modified modules in an educational system. This hierarchically linked screen pages or states in logical grouping, for example, gives a high level breakdown of the some sorts of messaging. This structure the actual system. For example, this may reflect the menu structure of a PC application on the site structure on the web. Any sort of information is difficult, but there is evidence that people find articles simpler than most. One of the more difficult with organization information of some functionally is that different people have different internal structures for their knowledge and may use different vocabulary. This is one of the places where a detailed knowledge of the intended user is essential. It is not good creating a hierarchy that the design understand but not the user, and all too commonly this is exactly what happened. However much you think you have got the wording and categorized right because there is different users, it is that not everyone will understand it perfectly. This is where clear guidance as suggested in section where you are going or what will happen is essential, as well as the mean or to allow users to change their mind if they make the wrong decision. There is also evidence that deep heretics are difficult to navigate, so it is better to have broad top level categorized or to present several levels of the menu on one chapter if often misused in his context. Many guidelines suggest that menu breadth, that is the number of the choices available at each level in the menu, should be around 7. However, Miller's result applies only the working or more items for a web index page if the items are organized in such a way that the eye can easily find the right one. See menu breadth for more. One optimal menu breadth, of course, or organization, the item of the page requires further classification. However, here the critical thing is the naturaless of the classification, where itself may depend on the user's purpose. For example, If the user want to look up information on a particular city and alphabetically list of all the city names would be faster, but for the purpose, a list by the region would be more appropriate. Global structure dialogue. In pure information system or static website, it may be sufficient to have a fulfilling hierarchical structure perhaps with the next previous links between items in the same group. However, for a system that involves doing things constantly drilling down group from one part of the hierarchy to another frustratingly. Usually, there are ways of getting more quickly from place to place. For example, in a stock control system, there may be a way of going from a stock item to all orders outstanding on that items and then from an order to the purchase record from the customer who placed the order. These would each be in a very different part of the article view of the application, yet directly accessible from one another. As well as these crosslinks in headings, when you get down the detail interconnection such as adding or deleting a record, there is obviously a flow of screen and commands that is not about happening in HCL. The word dialog is used to refer this pattern of interaction between the user and the system. Minister, do you take this woman consider the following frequent for a marriage services? Man, I do. Minister, do you man take this man? Woman, I do. Minister, I now pronounce you man and wife. Notice this describe. Show what lead to what. Show what happens when. Include branches and lobes. Be more task oriented than a heritage. Shown as a diagram illustrating the main screen for adding a user from the messaging system. The arrow shows the between the state. We can see that from the main screen we can get to either move user screen or add user screen. This promisely system always return to the main screen after the remove user screen. There is a further confirmation screen. Now our topic is going to be closed. We will meet in next video. Allah.